Oh, snap!
The world is finally waking up to the crap that's baked into and sprayed on kibble dog food. No longer can commercial pet food manufacturers fool us with pretty pictures and false promises. This is the raw dog food truth. The view and opinions expressed on this podcast are not intended to replace medical advice. Before starting any raw diet, do research, ask lots of questions, and consult your vet. Well, hello, raw feeders. I'm DeDe Murcer Moffett, CEO of a raw dog food and company, where your pet's health is our business, and we're friends like my long lost friend who's now in Missouri, Neely Piazza. She doesn't let friends feed kibble. Even if you're out of dog food, would you feed kibble?
Oh, go to the grocery store, buy some hamburger, buy some chicken. Gee whiz.
I can't wait, Niels, for the day. I think, hopefully it's going to happen where the truth comes out about prescription diets. The truth comes out about raw diets, right? Just like we saw the cardiomyopathy bull crap,
Which people are still pushing, by the way, even though how many years ago has it been that the FDA has said, oh, sorry, there was nothing there. And anyway, go ahead.
Who's still pushing that? You still hear about it?
Yeah. Not too long ago, somebody told me that their cardiologist insisted that their dog had to be eating grain. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you need, and it seems like cardiologists are the worst. You know my stance on vets in general, but cardiologists literally consistently are the worst. I don't know what kind of tunnel vision they have, but man.
Well, I told you about, my experience at VCA, just totally horrible. And you know what makes it even worse, Niels, is that I don't know how you change that. I think you've got your homeopathy classes. I think we need to have how to counter the narrative, the crazy narrative once you're in there. Because here's the problem. Your dogs that go to a emergency clinic like Lazi, they need something, right? And most of the time they're going to need fluids, right? That's the biggest thing, I think, is that they've got to have fluids going into their system. But they were guessing. They were guessing at everything. Oh, I think it's lepto. Oh, I think it's pancreatitis. Oh, I think it's Addison's. Oh, I think it's Cushing's. Oh, I think it's pyro. They had no idea. And everything kept coming back negative. And I feel for pet parents that don't have the years of knowledge that we have, or because when you're in that situation with your pet, man, is it hard. I mean, I my bill still was $8,000. Who has $8,000 sitting around? Right?
Yeah, and they
And
wanted, and look what all else they wanted you to do. But
well, Dr. Jasek had a good point, and she said, they give you sort of this up front. They give you like, here's your
worst case,
yeah. And she's
yeah.
like, because they say, okay, you need to put a deposit down of $5,000. Well, they need to do everything to get that $5,000, right? And so the other thing is too, like I've said, would they treat your dog worse if they didn't like you as a customer?
I'm sure some would. I wouldn't venture to say that everybody would, but I mean, it's kind of human nature. But that stuff is so ingrained in them. It's just like, we talk about the universities being indoctrinating and having this, you know, complete slant, and kids coming out now that are like total morons and have no idea of what reality and truth actually is. And I think it's the same for vets, and it's so ingrained in them. I mean, think about vet school, think about what it's like to go through vet school. You don't even have time to look up and breathe. You just have to like memorize, just straight up memorize everything they throw at you. And that's why any holistic vet you talk to has come to that realization on their own after multiple years of being in practice. And a lot of these people are smart enough to realize, gosh, this isn't working, and this is not actually doing what they told me it would do. And maybe I need to, and some people look into it. But then with the industry the way it is now, and there being such a shortage of vets, because they, I guess, are so um um
Maybe it's because they know they have to take the rabies shot and they're like, I ain't doing it.
yeah, there's that too. I don't know. I don't know why there's a shortage of everything at this point. I think the population is quite a bit smaller than than what the number that floats around is. But I mean, they're under all the corporate nonsense. There's and they don't have, even if they want to, they don't have a choice. I mean, look way back in the day when Dr. Rob ended up in the Senate hearings because he dared to give a Chihuahua half of a vaccine dose as he gave a Great Dane. And they took his franchise away from him. They kicked him out. I don't know if he lost his license or not, but I mean, my goodness. How
They
anyway.
set the system up to say, if you buck what we say, if you dare, and then we're going
Yeah.
to cause you great consequences.
Yeah.
And as I said, at this VCA, they have all of these signs that basically say, if you disagree with us, that's what they're saying. If you buck us at all, we will totally deny you services. And the last thing that a pet parent wants when their dog is sick is to be denied services, right? So I often say they need to take a play out of Mayo's book, because Mayo doesn't treat anybody like that, right? And yet they're dealing with some major issues. So it's crazy. It's crazy. um I think that they have caused themselves this because we as a society don't really trust doctors anymore, because what we found out was that during COVID they were being paid to skew
Yeah.
diagnosis and
Hmm.
to gain money. And then when you understand that a lot of your healthcare providers, whether that be in pets or people, they're getting paid a commission on what they sell you, on what tests they do. Right. So how can that not? I mean, we're not selling shoes, for Christ's sakes.
Well, it's like pediatricians, they get subsidies for having a certain percentage of their kids on the prescribed schedule, vaccine schedule, which is partly why they push them. But even if an individual doctor or vet wants to do the right thing and not play that game, like you said, they can't. They're in that corporate structure where they either do what the higher ups tell them or they're out on the street. And they all have hundreds of thousands of dollars of student debt, you know.
Hey, what happens if I mean, you've had student debt. What happens if
Still,
you don't, huh?
still.
Still, what happens if you just don't pay it?
I don't know. I hadn't tried that yet, but
Well,
it's on the list. Um,
I mean, I guess
um,
it goes against your credit and then you get dinged for everything else. But I'm like, man,
yeah, and it's the one thing that you can't claim in bankruptcy, because I ended up going through bankruptcy way back when too, and that's the one thing that you can't you can't bankrupt out of. You're stuck with it the whole time. Um, but I'm on the income-based repayment plan, so I
Yeah, it's crazy, when you look at how much money these institutions have. And obviously we've been finding out about that as their funds have been cut off, right? Being cut off. And you're just like, what is happening? Why are kids graduating with this much debt? It's just insane.
and no knowledge or
Right.
no wisdom.
No wisdom. Well, and maybe no knowledge. I mean, like what you're saying, it is a system that says, regurgitate, remember what I
Mhm.
say, and don't question it because you don't have time. And this is the system. And, one of the things that Amanda, our daughter, had said was when we were talking back and forth with you and Dr. Jasek and Amanda when Lazi was getting treated here, and her comment was, can they not do anything outside of running a diagnostic in a freaking computer? Look at the
That's the
patient.
model. That's the
Right.
model.
Right. Look at the patient. What is happening? And that's one thing that, you're great at. Dr. Jasek is great at. It's like, all right, if there was a blockage, there would be this, and this. If there was Addisonian, right? The Addison's disease. You typically see that in a dog that's had lots of vaccines, lots of other things, right? That's not this dog. And then it came back where that wasn't even the case. So that's what they cannot do. They're not good at that. I mean, my God, Niels, they would have started treating her for all this stuff.
She didn't have.
Right. Which is why you
And
want to
they would have
be
cut her open and not found anything.
right. And Dr. Jasek she was like, if they cut her open, more likely they're going to want to biopsy this organ, that organ, that organ. And she was like, and she'll never be the same. So thank God that wasn't the case. And I was like, no, we're not doing that unless you can definitively tell me that there was a block there. Oh, it might be gas. No, 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 not happening. We're going to take her home and feed her and see if she can pass it. Well, she did.
Yep.
Um, this is why homeopathy is so important, right? Because there are things that you can do to keep your dog healthy, to not put things in them that they can't clear.
So one of the big advantages that even if you just have a small amount of knowledge, most generally your dog's going to present with some sort of an acute issue, right? They um they got stung by a bee, they tore their they tore themselves open, they're throwing up, or they have diarrhea, or something that's rather common and acute like that. Homeopathy is fantastic about helping with those situations. And once you are relatively comfortable, have a little bit of knowledge, you will always have something at hand to go to right off, right? And then the way um the way my study groups are set up, you have a group of people that, when it's you and you're in the middle of it, your brain turns to mush. I'm the same way.
Mhm.
But you have a group of people that you can reach out to and be like, hey, this is happening. I'm a little freaked out. Somebody remind me what to do. And everybody chimes in. And then you kind of regain your senses and you keep going. And that's kind of how that works. And it's a great supportive system to go on that way. But the biggest thing is it keeps you out of the vet's office. It keeps you out of the emergency room until you're 100% sure that you need to go there. Because you go there with any minor little thing, they feel like they need to treat you. So, and they're all about suppressing symptoms and pushing all that stuff back down. And, what's the first thing they do if you go in with a dog with diarrhea? They give you metronidazole, right? Which totally decimates the gut. And, it's just like, oh, here, do this, Yeah, it'll stop the diarrhea, but the dog's never the same. It takes forever to recover from something like that, and it wasn't needed, right? But either that's their protocol or they feel like they have to do something, suppress an acute, create a chronic. That's what happens. You stuff that stuff down further, goes deeper into the system. The body has to figure out a different way to deal with it. So it pushes it out in a different way, right? So you end up with um, all kinds of side effects. You end up with your itchy skin, your allergies, your runny eyes, your recurrent ear infections, your UTIs, all those things that you see so commonly with routine vaccines, or a course of steroids, or um an antibiotic or something to treat something that was, you know, might have been scary, but in the grand scheme of things was minor. And so you go home with a huge problem, right?
I love that. So you said um, suppress an acute,
Create a chronic.
create
That
a
that
chronic.
yeah, anytime you suppress a symptom or suppress a an acute symptom like that, it's going to come out later as a chronic.
Wow.
And the other problem is homeopathy is incredibly powerful in a lot of really major issues. However, if you have gone the allopathic route first, like say you have allergies and you have steroids or Apoquel or Cytopoint or some combination or all of the above of those things, which is typical, right? We see that all the
Hmm.
time.
Right.
You're suppressing that, and then particularly with steroids, you come off of that, and you have to wean off gradually. You have to do that under medical supervision, because it's not something you can just stop doing. But you'll have a rebound. You'll have a steroid rebound, and so the condition will be multiple times worse than it was before you did the steroid. Whereas if you go to homeopathy first instead of last, you can you can get to the bottom of it a whole lot faster and a whole lot easier. I'm not going to say it's going to happen overnight, but if you have those other interventions first,
Hmm.
it makes it a lot more difficult to get through it. And you will also find that those allopathic interventions, they may work once, they may work twice, they may work for a couple of years, but they will stop working. And when they do stop working, that's not even counting the side effects. We all know that Apoquel causes cancer and totally dysregulates everything. And Cytopoint, the last several people that I've talked to that did Cytopoint, it didn't even work. So it was just a throwaway, toxic throwaway. But the more that you do, um, the harder it is to get back on track. And it's not a cure. It's not a cure. It's a band-aid. It's like putting icing on a mud pie and calling it a cake, right?
Yeah. So I want to kind of clarify that for folks a little bit. When you say, how would someone understand this better? Not a cure. It is a band-aid. So when you're looking at something, give us an example of not a cure. It's a band-aid.
So a cure would be you have a condition.
Hmm.
You do something to address that condition, and it's gone and it never comes back. That would be a cure, right?
Hmm.
So, not a cure would be you have a condition, you address that condition with something, the symptoms go away, but when you stop intervening with that, whatever it was you were using, it comes back, usually worse. And it may not be with steroids, typically it comes back with a vengeance and fast. With something like the metronidazole and the diarrhea and all that, it won't always come back right away, but you're you're setting your dog's system up to um, be much more susceptible to that happening again. Whereas if you let the body do its thing and go through its strategy of its healing strategy and supported it and helped it go to completion with homeopathy, you wouldn't be doing that. You most likely, I'm not going to say your dog's never going to have diarrhea again because who knows what they get into, right? But it's not going to be to the same degree. It's going to be much easier to deal with, and it's not going to be something that is dramatic like it would be um, the other way. Does that help?
Yeah, it does help. I think so. I heard somebody say, and I'm not sure if it was Tom Cowan or who, but somebody said, your body doesn't have a deficiency of ibuprofen,
Right,
right?
right,
So why are we
exactly.
getting a headache? And most people like never even look at that. They're like, "Why have a headache? Am I dehydrated? Am I low in blood sugar? Uh, all the different reasons that you might have a headache. Who knows? Do I have something pulled in my neck? Did I? Um,
Hmm.
but the way that we address it is the band-aid approach, right? I'm
Right,
gonna I'm gonna stop the headache right now. I have no earthly idea. And most people, Niels, when it comes to themselves, they're like, I don't really give a rip unless it keeps coming back. Right. And you keep having headaches and keep having headaches. And your body's like, hey, 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 you can't just keep taking ibuprofen forever. And you've got to figure out what is the problem. So this is what marketing has helped us do, not look at what the root cause is, right? Because we have an
right.
instantaneous fix.
Well,
So,
and it's
yeah,
it's all about the idea is get rid of the symptoms, get rid of the symptoms. No, the symptoms are a gift. The symptoms are what guide you to your healing path, right? So you never suppress a symptom. That's the body's strategy. That's its yell for help, saying, "Yo, this is happening. We need to do something, and this is what I've chosen to do. Are you coming with me or not?" And you stuff that down, and they're like, and body's like, well, crap, now I got to do something different. So that's how eczema turns into asthma. That whole thing. And what you were talking about, you know, way back when, Tylenol and Advil used to be considered, they're over the counter, they're safe, it's not a big deal, right? Well, I know somebody who ended up on dialysis because he just happened to mix Tylenol and Advil in the same day, right? So his kidneys blew up. He was on dialysis and he died probably 15, 20 years before he should have. Um, and there's a whole lot more evidence now coming out about how dangerous acetaminophen and ibuprofen really are. I mean, what is one of the main things that you take ibuprofen for? Joint pain. NSAIDs, right? Joint pain and arthritis. Well, one of the side effects of all those NSAIDs is damage to the cartilage and to the tendons. So the very reason that you're taking it is perpetuating more and more and more and more damage.
unreal.
Not to mention the organ issues and all that. So homeopathy is not like that. There's no, the worst side effect that you're going to get from homeopathy is you just have you've chosen the wrong remedy and it won't act, it won't do anything.
So I love what you said about your course is that even if you just have a little bit, right? A little bit of knowledge, you can do a lot with that. And then you can progress
Absolutely.
on. So,
Absolutely.
what is your next course and when can people sign up for that? By the way, Neely's website is whole, WHOLE, animalwellness.com, wholeanimalwellness.com, which you'll see in the show notes. What's your next course where people can get in and do that?
So I'm probably going to start a round of Gateway 1 and 2, which is just like just like the name implies, the gateway to homeopathy, right? So it's an introduction, kind of gives you a little bit of history, a little bit better understanding of what it actually is, kind of how it works, what some of the main remedies are, and how to use them, how they're made, those types of things. Because there's a whole lot of misconception about what it is. People think that homeopathy is just like an umbrella word for home remedies and herbs and supplements and things like that. It's not. It's a full on um, mode of medicine. So a remedy it's a medicine, right? Just like any other medicine. Well, it's not just like any other medicine, but it's powerful like that, but it works in conjunction with the body's healing strategy, not against it. So allopathic medicine works against what the body's doing to stop that symptom and to suppress whatever is happening. Homeopathy works with the body's strategy to help navigate through whatever that condition is in the fastest and least traumatic way, which may mean that some symptoms will fall away, right? But they're not
Mhm.
being suppressed, they're just being bypassed. So anyway, gateway 1 and then is followed by gateway 2. Um, I'll probably start a round of those in, what is this, middle of May? Probably mid-June.
Okay. So the best way, how do people do they get on an email list that you have? Can they get into your chat, leave their email and say, hey, contact me? How's the best way for them to get signed up
Yeah,
with
just
you?
go to the website www.wholeanimalwellness.com. Go to the website and there should be a prompt to sign up, so you can
Nice.
leave your email information there. You can go through the contact me chat and let me know that you're interested in doing the next round of gateways, and um, I'll put you on the list. And when I actually get it scheduled and on the in the schedule, um, I'll let everybody know and
Yeah.
go from
And
there.
guys, if you're on my website at rawdogfoodandcompany.com, just go in the chat or leave us a message somewhere and I will make sure that Neely gets your email as well. Okay. So if it's easier just to leave it there, either way, my
Either way.
website or Neely's, I will make sure that she gets your email. But go over and check Neely out. She's at wholeanimalwellness.com. Make sure, you guys, that you get your dog on a species appropriate diet. If you're doing any type of kibble right now, you're going against the body's natural healing properties, right? Because you're pumping sugar, chemical cakes and cookies, as we say, into their body. So how is that good for them? Those are synthetic vitamins. I don't care. I don't give a rip what a vet says about a raw diet. If they can actually um, show us the evidence, that is great. There is no evidence. We have so many dogs that are coming off the cakes, cookies, and chemicals and the prescription diets that are just gorgeous. Their body is gorgeous. Their poops are great. Their eyes are bright. Their itching is down, if non-existent. So
Personality changes too.
yeah, stable, calm, satiated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So get your
Yeah.
dog on a species appropriate diet. I don't think that you would agree that processed food is good for you, and dogs have not evolved to eat processed foods. I don't know. I'd like for somebody to walk me through that. If you can, tell me how a dog's digestive system, their teeth, everything has evolved in less than 100 years to eat kibble. It tell me how, send it to us. We'll talk about it here. I mean, if you we're always willing to look at information. Okay. So go ahead and send that right over here You can go to my website at rawdogfoodandcompany.com. Don't forget, we have Yappy Hour every Wednesday. We've got new treats coming in, so watch for that. Brian is there to help you pick a plan. And don't forget that Neely is there for the bigger issues, right? She's there if you guys can't figure something out, your dog keeps itching, you want to get off of some of these medications, you want to get on homeopathy, Neely is your person at wholeanimalwellness.com. All right, get over to rawdogfoodandcompany.com, where your pet's health is our business. And what, my friend Neely?
Friends don't let friends feed kibble.
Never. Okay, we'll see you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.